Are you an insurance agent that desires consistent income? Well, I'm going to give you the tips that you need to know to take your career to the next level. But more importantly, helping you as an insurance agent level out the playing field and your paychecks, because sometimes you experience the highs and the lows, and the highs are great. The lows can cause you to lose your lunch a little bit. So I'm going to give you the keys to unlocking financial stability, selling final expense insurance. So we're going to dive right into this today. Hope you enjoy the video. And before we do, my name is Jason. I'm your friend in the business, and I am just insanely blessed to partner with some of the most amazing brand new and veteran agents in our national agency selling life, Medicare, and annuities face-to-face, but more importantly in the telespace. So free resources at jasonfinalexpense.com, and I hope this video is a blessing to you today. So when you're thinking about a market, all right, to make money in, and the final expense market may be the right choice, maybe not for you, you got to understand you've got a virtually a limitless pool of people to prospect to. 11,000 people are turning age 65 every single day and will do so for the next decade, the next 10 years. You have no limit of people to talk to. So keep that powerful thought in your head. A limitless pool of people to protect. This is big. Also understand death is inevitable. When you're in the death industry, everybody needs the final expense coverage. The economy goes sideways, and now they need you to save them with a policy, most likely, because their money isn't going as far. So no matter if the economy is good, if the economy is bad, believe it or not, they need you. And belief is the backbone of this industry. And if you want to have consistent income, we've got to have a consistent supply of prospects to go powerfully serve. We can't lose sight of this in the industry. But the final expense industry has insanely high levels of commissions. So you knowing that you can make a good commission to take care of great people is also good for you to know, versus maybe selling some other types of insurance in the market that pay a very tiny commissionable amount because maybe the premiums are different. So understand you can earn a substantial income in this space by simply just helping people plan for their future. And you found yourself in the final expense market, even by you watching this video. So the target market is big. Now you're ready to hopefully dive into this because you believe in the people that you're protecting. Tip number one, you've got to have a very good approach. If you want to have consistent income, we've got to have a consistent, intentional script or system so that we can approach these great prospects in the same way. Just like making cookies, you can't change the recipe up, right? And expect a consistent cookie on the other side of this, right? You got to have a consistent approach. How you approach every prospect needs to be very consistent, which comes from turnkey systems. If you're in final expense telesales, it's very important that you've got a very tight script, a very right script, so you can really get your message across in the best way to these great people on the other end of the phone lines. The moment that you lose your approach and don't do it right, you're going to get sloppy, and then you're not going to sell as much. So the key to having consistent income is really having a very consistent recipe for success. You've got to have a good script and use this approach when it's working all day, every day. I know it's a boring business, but the business is very simple. You're going to get bored. Welcome to final expense telesales. And the face-to-face play, you may get bored too. It's going to happen. It's not about you being perfect. It's about leaning forward and taking care of good people. But your approach is going to really matter. And if you want to have consistent income, you've got to have a consistent process, and you got to be disciplined enough to follow it. I know everybody hates the D word, but you've got to have a good approach. Now, number two is you got to have good activity. Activity is big. Activity will solve your problems. If you're a face-to-face final expense insurance agent that's frustrated with the highs and the lows of your income right now, you don't have a consistent activity pattern here. You've got to have good patterns and get your britches out the door if you're a face-to-face agent, and knock a certain defined amount of doors if you want to have consistent income delivered back to you. If you're a final expense telesales insurance agent, you've got to have a tremendous level of action as you lean forward. Activity, activity, activity will solve all your problems when you're a final expense telesales agent or a face-to-face agent. And what I see is that agents when they don't have consistent income, it's really because they don't have consistent activity. The more hands you shake, as you've heard, the more money you make, right? Well, it's about your approach, right? You got to be tight. You got to be really skilled. That's great. But if you don't have activity, it doesn't really matter. You won't have consistent activity on the backside. So your activity, number two here of the A's, is equally as important to your approach, because if you've got a great approach, but you're not approaching enough people, you're not going to get any form of profitability and your income's going to go down. You're going to have this high and low effect because when your activity is high, guess what? Your activity is going to rise. And when your activity is down, it's because normally your activity was down as well. You've got to be moving if you want to make money in this industry. And if you have consistent input, what you can control, you're going to have a consistent output into hopefully your checkbook, your deposits when you're selling final expense insurance. There's a limitless pile of people to see, amazing people that we get to protect. We're privileged to do this. And you're not going to be perfect. You won't be. Don't expect to be, but you'll be extremely good at taking care of great folks. This so what? So what this will do for them, a consistent approach. Number two, a consistent set of activity. Go see as many people as you possibly can in the walls of the hours that you're working. You've got to always be working. Is this an income producing activity or an income reducing activity? Don't fool yourself into thinking that you own a business. The business will own you if you don't own your activity. And then you've got to really be about the activity, which is you serving people. The byproduct of you serving great people is that you sold them something that will save them heartache and pain. You got to be in a position to win, but more importantly, help the client win. And if you want to have consistent income, you've got to have consistent approach, a consistent set of skill set, now consistent activity, and that activity will be the golden goose that will give you the consistent income that you desire. But you've got to buy leads. You can't say, hey, I want consistent income, but you don't invest into your business. You've got to care about this business, and you've got to consistently, once again, be buying leads on the weekly if you want consistent wealth. A lot of agents will say they want consistent income, but they don't actually input anything into their business. And then they get beat up out of this business, like 90% of the agent force that fails, because maybe they failed to input the leads, input the activity, input the right approach to get the right output. And that's consistent income that you can have, but it's a performance-based business. Those that do or those that get. And if you're not doing a couple things right, a lot of things can go wrong. And you're going to experience really the highs and the lows of this industry, but everything will level out. You may get $1,000 AP one day, $300 AP the next, but it'll blend out with the laws of large numbers on your side. But make sure you've got the right approach. Make sure that you've got good skills, a good telemastery program like what we provide here at jasonfinalexpense.com, so that you've got 5 days of training so that you can understand what you need to do, how you need to say things, so that you can hopefully have a chance of success. I hope these tips help you and take you far and give you the consistent income that you desire, because you are more successful than you may know. Be positive, be powerful, my friends. Understand you've always got what it takes, but it does take a leap of faith. It does take a lot of action, and it will hit you with a lot of rejection in this business. But being positive as you overcome this will help you hopefully realize consistent income in a highly competitive field. But you're going to find you're going to love it when you love activity, you love skill set, you love the leads that you're so privileged to go help and serve, and find that, you know what, their problems can be solved with Mainbee, your final expense life insurance product that you possess in your briefcase or by phone. If I can do anything to serve you, jasonfinalexpense.com. Have a great day, my friends. We'll see you soon.